Today I'm going to show you how to grill ribs using charcoal and wood. Hey, this is Ricer from Dead Broke Barbecue, Wisconsin, and welcome back to the channel. But if you're new here, we try to help you enhance and amplify your backyard barbecue fun. Now, grilling ribs is a little bit different than smoking them, but they still have some really great flavor, and you're certainly not gonna get a smoke ring, so don't even try. So grab your favorite charcoal and some wood, Charlie. We're gonna amplify some backyard barbecue fun. I took these St. Louis ribs out of the cryovac and patted them dry with some paper towel. To get the membrane off, I just take a butter knife and shove it right down one of the middle bones and follow it, pull it up, and grab it and rip it off. And if you don't get them all, just take a little bit of paper towel and you can pinch it and pull the rest of it off. I also cleaned off some of the excess fat and trimmed up some of those pieces that are just gonna burn off anyways. I coated up these St. Louis with some Blue Ribbon competition style rib rub from PS Seasoning. I'm using my Lone Star Grillz Santa Maria with the Argentina grates for this cook. And I'm using a little B&B charcoal today. And we're using red oak for our wood. Time for some fire. Now that's a fire. I'll bring you back when the charcoal and the wood starts to ash over, and we'll get those ribs on those Argentina style grill grates. Our fire in the Santa Maria is ashed over really nice, and we're running right around that 200 to 210 degrees. You just put your hand above it and the count of 8. Well, when you start feeling it tingle a little bit and it's getting hot, that's kind of how you judge your temperatures. Or you can do like my good friend Russ Jones from Smoky Ribs says, use an oven thermometer. He says it's something like that. He's a southern boy, you know. Good friend of mine. Check out his channel. Now these ribs are nice and sweated up. Look at that color. They've been sitting there for about 20 minutes. Now I'm gonna take the meatier part of this rib and put it towards the bottom. And we are gonna be close to fitting them all on right now. And you're gonna hear a little bit of sizzling. Same thing with this one. Get him on there. And you wanna squish these together because how you put them on is how they're gonna cook. And finally the last rack. Get him on here too. Squeeze them together. When you're using the Argentina style grates, you also are gonna wanna have this good little drip pan. As the grease and the fat starts running down these grates, it's just gonna be caught right in that drip pan. Now we're gonna be grilling these ribs for probably 5 to 6 hours. I'll let you know at the end how long it took. And for 2/3 of this cook, we're gonna actually have them bone down because the bones are gonna heat up and they're actually gonna start cooking the top of that meat. The last third of this cook, we'll flip them over so we get some of that wonderful, beautiful tasting char. I'm 2 hours into this cook on these grilled ribs. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. Now these absolutely have some fantastic color, and you can see that the fat is starting to render and starting to juice up good. Now every half an hour I rotated these from right to left and turned them 180 degrees. That's just to ensure that I'm getting a good even cook throughout this whole process. Now you can see that the juices are running and dripping into the trough, but they certainly have some dynamite color. I'm really happy with how they're looking. And an hour ago I went ahead and added some fuel, but it's time to do it again. So we're gonna crank this up a little bit so we don't have to dink around with it. Okay, and I just throw this log over a little bit, and I'm gonna throw in a little bit more charcoal on each side of this little pile. And then we're gonna throw in a couple pieces of wood again. Get it kind of like, somewhere right around here. And this is gonna heat up, so I'm gonna have to bring it up a little bit, just a few inches, because our temperatures are gonna raise. And this is a hands-on cooker. You just can't set it and forget it and walk away. You are gonna have to tend the fire, but that's what makes this so much fun. And again, if you just go ahead and put your hand above it and start counting it up to 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that feels about 200-ish to me, so I can lower that grate down just a little bit. But once those wood chunks start to blaze, it's gonna produce a lot more heat, so I might have to bring it back up. And once they start flaming up good, I just kind of spread them out a little bit so it evens out that fire across that whole bottom of that grate. So now let's just keep on tending this fire and watching it cook. But I'll bring you back when it's time to go ahead and flip these over on the meat side. We're 4 hours into this cook and they're smelling incredible and looking pretty dang good. It's time to go ahead and flip them over on the meat side and give them some char. We'll just check and see what we are for flexy. And we still got a little ways to go. They're just a little bend in them, not quite right yet. Got a little crispy on the bottom side, but you know, that ain't too bad. Starting to see some good pullback on here, but yeah, these are a little dark. It's direct cooking, and obviously we have a lot of smoke coming right up underneath it and giving it some heat. And now we might as well go ahead and put in another chunk of wood, push over all the other sticks and charcoal, and I just put one right back here. It's kind of like a train. I just go ahead and hook up the caboose. Obviously, because I went ahead and added another stick, I gotta raise her up a little bit. Just a couple turns is how I've been doing it, and it seems to be working pretty decent. I'm gonna leave these on the meat side for about an hour and then we'll flip them over. But you certainly can hear that sizzle, so you know we're gonna get some good little char marks off those grates. So I rotated these ribs 3 times and I only ran it for about 45 minutes because I didn't want to actually start to char up this side. This one's the important side. Today I'm using some of this Peach Buzz from PS Seasoning on one of those racks of ribs. Put it in a cast iron pot and threw it on the pit so it could warm up a little bit because you don't want to put cold sauce on hot meat. Now some of you might be thinking that these ribs are overdone, but they're actually not. This is from the sugar in that rub that's making it a little bit darker. And y'all know me and my family, we like char. When we're grilling, we want a little bit of that char taste. So on the bone side, that's where we're gonna get that char flavor. Oh yeah. That is a really nice looking rib. It's really hard to see the mahogany color in these, but it's perfect. We'll just go ahead and flip the rest of these. That one's a little bit darker. And let's just check and see kind of what we're doing for temperature wise. Yeah, we're gonna be closing in on that 198 pretty soon, 196. But I can tell you from just poking at it, these are getting nice and tender. Now this is the one that we're gonna sauce up and we're just gonna go ahead and run her right down it. Get that on there. Okay, my son asked for another one to be all greased and mudded up, so we'll do 2 of them. I'm gonna let this sauce start to set up a little bit and then we'll pull them off in about 15 minutes and then we're gonna cut them up and we're gonna give them a taste test. I'll bring you back then. These ribs have rested for 15 minutes. It's time to go ahead and slice into them. These actually look like a no-wrap rib. Some of you might be saying they're too dark. Well, that might be because you've only smoked ribs and you wrap them in aluminum foil when you get the color that you like. But these are grilled ribs, so obviously they're gonna be a little bit darker. If you use a rub that's got sugar in it, that's gonna help accelerate that darkness also. The first one we're gonna try is the one that I put this Peach Fuzz from PS Seasoning on. Now you can tell that I let this actually cook in. It's not all muddy. We just wanted to add the flavor. But we got some good pullback on these bones. Just cut one off. They're still crazy hot. And I don't know if my camera is gonna pick it up, but there's great moisture in these. Lots of moisture. Let's take a bite. Very good. Bite off the bone. I love the char flavor. Go ahead and cut into the rack that I like the most. You know me, I like dry ribs, so this is gonna be pretty similar to it. Cut this one off right here. Again, lots of moisture on them, but Jesus, it's what we want. Now this to me is a grilled rib. It's got a little bit of crispiness and there might be actually just a little bit of a smoke ring there. While I cut this other bone off, I just want to thank all of my Patreons and the people that have joined the Dead Broke Barbecue Nation over at Facebook and for the channel itself. Thank you very much. But just look at the juice, it's running right out of there. I hope my camera shows this. For all of you that like a little crispy bark, this is the way to go. For sure. If you like this video, give it a bones up. Become a subscriber and turn on that notification bell because, well, You don't want to miss my next video, but I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video. But now, let's roll the nation. Yeah, they're good? You like them? I haven't made these ever for you. Nice and tender though, huh? Juicy.